an opening statement?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to tell these guys thank you. It's been, I told them this, I think, today before we left the hotel. I mean, it's really been the honor and privilege of my life to get to coach these guys. This is my 4th year at TCU, and there's been some guys that have been here from the very beginning, and those guys are just incredibly special. They hung around when there was a coaching change, and in year number 1 it goes so good, and year number 2 doesn't go so great. There's just been some ups and downs, and those guys have never wavered. They're just the character, who they are, just all of it is just, I couldn't be more proud. And the guys sitting up here, I mean, Bud and Caleb and Jeremy and Ken, I mean, they're just such good people, and I'm so blessed to get to go to work every day and be around these guys. They truly mean the world to me. So proud of what they did tonight. It took a special effort to find a way. It's kind of what we talked about last night after Brandon Colehausen came and talked to us a little bit. That was kind of his message, is you got to find a way, and these guys found a way today. And it wasn't always pretty. Third quarter was about as ugly as offensive football as I've been a part of. But we found a way. Defense kept hanging in there, and it kept playing hard, and got the stops that we needed to give us a chance to win. And then guys made plays down the stretch. I mean, Ken did a great job checking the ball down there on 3rd down, and we were trying to get in field goal range and probably anticipating kicking a 45, 50-yard field goal, and Jeremy just took it over and made a play. So just, like I said, man, I'm so proud of these guys. Great win for TCU, and I think something that we'll always remember.
Sonny, the offense went 4 for 4 in the red zone, I believe, tonight. Defensively, like you mentioned, they got a couple big stops down there. Just talk about how important red zone.
Yeah, you look back on this game, and I don't know how many competitive PBUs Bud had, but a bunch. You know what I mean? Where the ball was in the air and the guy had a chance to make a play, and Bud Clark just fought hard and he didn't make a play. That was the deal defensively. It was 3 times holding them to field goals. And that's obviously a difference in the game. And then when we got down there in the red zone, we scored touchdowns. Thought we had the catch with man jack, which would have made it a little bit easier, but wouldn't have been as fun for Jeremy to be able to finish the way he did. So I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Question center, please.
Question for Ken. First start in 2 years, you lead the double-digit comeback. It felt like watching a movie for us. How did it feel for you out there on the field?
I mean, it felt like a movie. It was just, you reach a certain point where, I was a little rusty to start, not gonna lie. I kind of forgot how to run a football. I think I got hit standing up straight and just dropped the football and to start the second half. So, but I just can't even, I'm not processing it. This is just an unbelievable experience. The week leading up to it, the last 10 days, and then finish it in this fashion is just, more than any guy could dream.
Question in the hand to
for all the defenders on stage, how special is it for you guys, on this defense to get that win, not just for each other, but also Coach Avalos, who from the IE, from California, probably overlooked by SC. How was it just the temperament going into the week prepared with that?
That was a really good win. Defensively, I feel like, we had our moments, but at the end of the day, we got some crucial stops, held them to some field goals, some 3rd down, 4th down stops. And shoot, I'm from California too, so just kind of being overlooked by all the big schools, and playing one of the bigger programs historically, and ending up finding a way to get on top is definitely an amazing feeling for sure.
Let me just say this about Andy too. The great thing about Andy is, he didn't make it about him. You know what I mean? I know it meant more to him. He never talked to me about it. I'm guessing he didn't talk to the defensive players about it. That's just who he is. You know what I mean? He's just a guy that pours his heart and soul into the players, and it takes a lot of pride in their performance. And just really, he did a tremendous job getting them ready, because USC is a very talented football team, and very well coached. They did a great job with their schemes and what they did, And they were down some players, and they still went out and did a great job. And again, that's a credit to Coach Riley and his staff and their players.
Bud, did you want to answer that and talk about the defensive performance?
I feel like we prepared for it. Like we prepared all week. We prepared for the whole month. So and it's been a big thing for us, just be excited. So I feel like we did a great job at doing that, especially on defense and offense, because we believed in Ken and Ken believed in us, and I feel like that's what took us this far.
Question right middle, please.
Jeremy, on that final play, 3rd and 20, you get the check down. You'll see the screenshot if you haven't already, but you look up and there's 4 USC defenders around you. What are you thinking? How desperate were you to keep your legs moving?
Man, I just catching the ball. I always taught to be one player, just be one player. And once I beat that one player, I'm thinking, let's get the first down. And then I broke another tackle, and I'm like, oh, I can make it. So I just amazing feeling. Just all glory to God. Yeah.
Coach, can you talk about the job Mitch did calling the game tonight?
Yeah, really good. I mean, we started slow. Ken talked about it, and we didn't convert 2 3rd and shorts in the first half, and that hurt us and kind of slowed us down. But once we got into a rhythm, we really started moving the ball and scored the 2 back-to-back touchdowns on those drives, and really had a ton of momentum going into halftime. Came out in the 3rd quarter. I expected us to kind of pick up where we left off, and we just struggled. And to Mitch's credit, we're down 10. And if you're a young play caller, and I had to learn this when I began calling plays 20 years ago, you've got to treat the game as if it's a 0-0 game. You got to call it that way because you start dropping back and taking shots, and things can snowball, and especially against a talented defensive front like that. And he did a great job. I mean, he kept his composure. He didn't panic. There was tremendous communication among all the coaches, and I thought everybody did a good job of being patient. We talked to the players, say, look, it's just a one play at a time thing, and we'll get back in this game. And again, you can say that, but those guys have to believe it. And the only way that they can believe it is they have to believe in themselves and their preparation and all the things that they've done to put themselves in that position. And we had 13 bowl practices, I believe, and never one time did anybody dog it. And when we had some adversity, your starting quarterback says he's not going to play in a game. That's adversity. And everybody stepped right up. Everybody said, okay, we got the guy in the building that can do this and can. And you have to believe it. And the only way that you can go out and do what he did today is you have to prepare yourself every single day for 2 years. And you have to be incredibly unselfish in order to do that. And he did it. And he got to live a dream tonight. He'll remember it the rest of his life. I'll remember it the rest of mine. And man, it's just fun to be a part of it.
Question, Frank? Sonny, you mentioned in your opening statement a little bit of ups and downs the last few years, but the reality is you've won 9 games, at least 9 games in your first 4 seasons. Just how would you evaluate these 4 years? What has been the key to?
Like you said, up and down. I think, I think if you had said, okay, year 1 you're going to go 5-7, year 2 you're going to go 9-4, year 3 you're going to go 9-4, and year 4 you're going to play for a national championship, I think everybody would go, well, that's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And I think for us, the fact that we did that in year 1, makes it hard. Where do you go from there? And I think it creates expectations that you want. I mean, look, I want to win every game, and I want us to field a team that believes we can win every game. And I do believe for the last 2 years we fielded that kind of team. Now we've made too many mistakes, coaching errors, and all kinds of other things to do it. But look, this is a good football program on the verge of being a great program. We all want it to be great. We all want to be in the playoff. But anybody that says bowls don't matter didn't watch this game tonight. Because bowls matter. This is important for this university, and most importantly, these young men. And it matters, and they treated it that way, and that's why they came out on the winning edge. But look, I want to be in the playoff every year. I know our players want to be in the playoff every year. I know our fans want to be, and we're going to work our tails off to get there.
please.
Some of you guys trusted a lot of true freshmen tonight. Think about Gil Jackson and that third down stop. Just how big was he got for you guys tonight?
Yeah. I mean, just Gil's awesome. He showed that kind of perseverance. I mean, you look at Gil and you look at Terry, and they got forced into some action. And we had some guys that were down, and they've been preparing all year and looking for their opportunity. And we just talk about it. We just talked about it in the locker room. And that's what very successful people do. They show up every day, they go to work, and then they don't get an opportunity. They do it again the next day, they don't get an opportunity, and they know that at some point that opportunity's coming, and they're ready. And Gil was ready, Terry was ready, obviously Ken was ready. Jeremy's proven that over and over again as a young player. And and Bud was the same way. I mean, Bud, you go back and look at the national championship year, he's a young player out there playing in these big football games and gained confidence from that, and it helped him become the kind of player that he is now. And excited to watch these guys after they leave TCU, and what's next for them and their journey in the NFL, because they're going to be very successful people, and I can't wait to watch.
Coach, what does your focus look like going into the offseason, just being able to build on this momentum from this one time?
Yeah, biggest thing, number one, is hold on to as many players as we can hold on to. I think that's the whole thing that we've been working really the last month. Ryan Dorchester, our GM, Chief of Staff, probably honestly the most important guy in the building, has been working for a month to secure as many players as we can and get those guys back. And so that's where it begins. Then we've got to go address some needs in the transfer portal. We'll have about 72 hours to enjoy this, and then we'll start hosting visits on January 3rd. Transfer portal visits and trying to get guys, to fill in the roster and get better. And so that's what's next. But this does give us a lot of momentum. I think it gives us a lot of confidence. I bet there was a bunch of people watching this game tonight that saw what TCU football is and what we're about, and I think it made a big impression on them. I'm sure it did some of those recruits as well. So it was a big night.
For Bud and Caleb, I know you practice against Jeremy a lot. On that last play, were you kind of not surprised that it was like that, and what was your view from the sidelines?
I feel like I knew he was going to do it because, even in practice he does, so it's something that you practice every day. It's not just a, pop up and let's do it, but the flip switch, the switch flipped, and then that's what it was. And I believed in him, and so did our team, and he did what he was called to do.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised either. Jeremy's an extremely hard worker. He'd be shaking me at practice sometimes too. And I'm not surprised that he, just went out there and made a bunch of dudes miss. And he was doing it all night. So once he made that first dude miss, I knew he was gone. So a hell of a player, and I'm proud of him. And I see it every day, so I definitely wasn't surprised.
Thank you.
We did have a question come in. Ken, the reckless abandon that Brand showed in his game, leaving his feet, you had a same play that was shown on social media a lot. Talk about that mentality going in that you were going to leave it on the field.
Yeah, I think my mentality was just, sell out. It's your last one, man. Like, if you can pull the ball on the goal line and go score, go do it. In some ways, I think I needed a refresher on how to run the football. It's been a while since I got hit, and it was kind of, took me a second to, I guess, shake the rust off a little bit. But once I felt like I settled in and kind of got back to my game and knew how to play and stuff, I felt really confident what I can do, and made the plays when there were plays to be made.
Thank you. Front row.
But over 60 games in your career, man, and just talk about your career coming to a close at TCU, what it's meant to you, and playing in this game and then finishing the way it did.
When I first came to TCU, I didn't know a thing about it. So it was hard for me, I got in, played under Coach P. He was great to us, or whatever. But I didn't know what I was going to do because I ended up getting a concussion. And then Dykes came in, and I didn't know if they wanted me or not. I was about to transfer, honestly. And I had a good player playing in front of me. So I talked to our DC at the time, and they told me that they wanted me. And I knew then that I would do everything that I could for TCU. Anything that I could, by any chance, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll do it. And I'd like to say thank to Coach Dykes and all the staff that took us in, or took me in for sure. And it's crazy, it's coming to an end. You know, I'm starting when I was 19, 20, 23 now. Well, 19, 20, 18, 17, 18. 23 now, so I've grown, I've matured, and I feel like being here helped me. It helped me grow my grit, grow my tenacity, everything that I needed in order to become the man that I am today.
Awesome. Final question. About your phone.
Coach, you talked about how bowl games matter, and obviously the playoff. You obviously TCU, Texas Tech, teams from Texas that just aren't in the SEC are having very great seasons. So when you look upon that going forward with the playoff, how do you feel the Big 12 needs to be placed in terms of the top conferences?
Yeah, good question. I think, man, I could sit here and talk for hours about changes that I think need to be made in the playoff and all the stuff, but it's a difficult task. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to juggle, and a lot of things that have to align themselves to make it work. I believe the Big 12 is the most competitive conference in football. I really do believe that. From top to bottom, anybody can win any given Saturday, and it makes it a very difficult conference to win. It was hard for us when we went 12-0 first year. There were only 9 teams in the league, or 10 teams in the league at that time. We played everybody, and so you kind of had a real champion. Now with the addition of the teams, the league's gotten stronger. Texas Tech obviously had a tremendous year. That's a really, really solid football team. I felt the same way about BYU. Felt like BYU probably should have been included in the playoff. They were a 12-win team, lost 2 games to Texas Tech, and that's it. But it's like anything else. I think when you have an opportunity, like we did in 22, you have to go win. We beat Michigan. Michigan lost 1 game in 2 years. That was to us. And so we had to go do that for the league. Texas Tech needs to go win some games for the league. And as that happens, and as teams win games, I think the league gets more respect. Because like I said, game in, game out, there's no league tougher from top to bottom. Now, maybe not as many teams at the top as there is in the SEC or maybe the Big Ten, but the bottom teams in the Big 12 are crazy competitive. And so anyway, it's a hell of a league, and hard to win it.